here's the bottom line with short selling, and here's why I'm worried about them cracking down on short selling. Short selling actually exposes so many frauds because stock markets are much more filled with touters and people who pump up these stocks like GameStop, by the way. I mean, when was the last time you were in a mall, or BlackBerry? I mean, those stocks are being touted. And investors are getting in those stocks thinking that they are great based on flimsy research. And guess what? The short sellers come in and give you another side of the story. So if you think getting rid of short selling is a good thing, think again, because it's going to lead to many more ripoffs. The problem with Washington, I think, on this story is this, Neil, I don't think there's much they can do. You can investigate the market manipulation. Guess what? They're going to find out it's almost impossible to peel back, because a lot of this message board stuff is all anonymous. What's the difference between a tout and a real belief in something? You have to delineate that. The real thing came down, I think, is what's going on here is that when you have the Federal Reserve just having 0% interest rates forever, you're going to get GameStop, that's at $3 a share, shoot up to $40 a share, which is when the shorts came in and said this thing ain't worth it. It's full of irrational exuberance, and that's happening with a lot of stocks. So I think the big thing is you want to add some reality to the markets. Add some interest rates and make sure you have to pay for money here.
All right, well, that could be a whole other phenomenon here. There's plenty of justification to keep rates where they are. But having said that, Charles Payne, I know you've been saying, we don't, waste a nanosecond looking the other way when big shorts at some of these big hedge funds, are losing a lot of money here, and we don't hold them accountable. But God forbid the little guy makes a lot of money, then we're zeroing in on him. Is it really that way, though, or is there just a sense right now that this is like a market toppy event, that we're assigning values to companies that are way beyond the norm? I mean, it's Tesla's one thing, but something that we see happening to these small guys who've been targeted, I guess, because they're small, because they're the focus of shorts, they get a disproportionate amount of attention. What do you think?
Well, it's easy now to say, oh, well, Tesla is not the same. For the last 5, 6, 7 years, people were saying the same exact argument. I'm not here to argue value. Listen, I'm in the market to make money. 2 weeks ago, I put out a list of shorts that people should buy, and we took profits on them. Actually, most of them last week. The only one I took profits on this week, I think, was Space. And they were all grand slams. So you got to know your own greed level. Also, the assumption that everyone who bought these at $50 is all going to hold it till it goes all the way back down to 1 is a farce. I mean, these are not dumb people. Some of them, listen, human nature, some people are going to get greedy, but a lot of people have already made a lot of money. I think the main story here, though, is that Wall Street, hedge funds, it's good. You think a stock is $100 and it should be $80? Go short. But they don't just go short. They put together 50-page reports. They get to go on TV. They have their own networks, their own very powerful networks. They don't need to go in a chat room and gather 1 million people with $400. Yeah, but they can make 2 or 3 phone calls. So the idea that the hedge funds are being dissed or somehow disadvantaged there is a farce.
Look at the short thesis on BlackBerry, okay, an analysis on BlackBerry, and the long thesis on BlackBerry.
Right.
And then
let me tell you one thing, Charlie. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing.
I get trading out of it. Look at the short thesis on GameStop.
Charlie. Let me just tell you one thing, though. Let me just tell you one thing. I bought BlackBerry in my own account. Almost a year ago.
Makes no sense. This market is.
Let Charles Payne answer. Go ahead.
Stocks up.
Who cares about your thesis? Who cares about your thesis? Who are you? Who are you? Who cares about your thesis?
Guess what? Not all the money in there are smart people. There are people being led astray. It happens every few years, and it's happening now.
People were led astray when they bought General Electric at 54.
Bubble, Charles. But a lot of small investors believe Pets.com was going to be the next Amazon.com.
Yeah, and guess what?
But Charlie Gapasrino, remember, there were a lot of people who were shorting Tesla, right?
Hold on one second.
And they looked wise. That the crowd that shorted Tesla looked very, very wise, right? In retrospect, maybe not so much, right?
Listen, we saw this with Tesla, Netflix, Amazon for years was a stock that the experts said don't buy because there was no E in the PE. Here's the thing. I bought BlackBerry a year ago, almost a year ago on my own account because of the 5G technology. I just happened to see the short squeeze and take it. My broker sent me an email, said, yo, you remember this? I said, oh, golly. So there was a thesis for me to own it.
Excuse me, Charles.
I told you a year ago. What does a year ago mean to you? I said I bought it a year ago.
This stuff. And there are people that are buying.
Listen, Neil, I didn't want to do this with anybody else that would not let me speak. Okay?
All right. Well, guys, one at a time. So, Charles, you're saying, you have confidence in that people are grown-ups. They can invest in something. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But they're certainly as qualified as the hedge funds who have second-guessed.
I'm not saying anybody I'm not judging qualifications. I'm judging opportunity. I'm saying who the hell is anybody out there to say, oh, you should stop being able to own GameStop at a certain level.
Nobody's saying that.
I would love to be able to speak more than three seconds.
That, Charles.
All right. Well, here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line. Everyone has theses, right?
Raising the issue.
All right. Here's the thing. You're calling people stupid,
Charles. Is that you're calling people stupid? The volume from a settlement standpoint, and Rush Limbaugh and all these lunatics are running around saying it's a class warfare thing. It's absurd.
I tend to agree with Rush on this because you know what? Robinhood could have raised. Excuse me. I would like to talk. I would like to talk for more than 1 second, my man. Please give me a chance. I'm asking you to let me talk for a minute. Now, Robinhood raised $1 billion this morning. They could have raised that yesterday. They could have raised $10 billion. They want to go public. The insiders don't want to give up any more equity.
Because they don't have enough money for this
Neil,
settlement.
I'm out. Please cut me off. I don't want to finish this. This guy keeps interrupting. What kind of nonsense is this?
All right. I just want to understand, guys, are you, real quickly, guys, are you for the government looking into this?
No.
Charlie Gapasrino, yes or no? All right, Charles Payne, you're not.
Look into it. I'm not for more regulation.
You agree?
I want them to make sure, though, that you can never stop. You can never short 140% of a company. I want to make sure that hedge funds can never keep shorting unlimited amounts of stock because every short is a deliberate sell, a deliberate attempt to knock the stock down, and that is not a free market.